So let's talk about something huge, learning. Specifically, learning about science. For centuries, the gates to really understanding science have been, well, kind of shut for a lot of people. Today, we're going to look at why that is, the incredible breakthroughs, and the amazing new keys that are finally prying those gates open for everyone, no matter where you are. The amazing Carl Sagan really nailed it. He said our whole civilization, pretty much everything we rely on, depends on science and tech. Think about that. Science isn't just some boring subject in a book. It's the engine running our entire world. And that means getting it, really getting it, isn't a nice to have anymore. It's absolutely essential. Okay, so if it's so important, what happens when that knowledge is blocked? What if the people who need it most just can't get to it? That right there, that's the big problem we're going to dig into. All right, so let's start with the first big wall people hit. And honestly, it might be the biggest one. Before you can learn a single formula or theory, there's this unspoken rule, this hidden requirement. You just have to be able to show up. For millions of people, the whole idea of a traditional classroom just doesn't work. It's just not an option. Think about it for a second. You're juggling a full-time job. Maybe you've got kids to take care of. Or what if you live hours away from the closest college? Or maybe, just maybe, money's tight. These aren't just little hiccups, right? These are huge, solid walls standing in the way of an education. And okay, let's say you can get past all that. You find a way. Well, when it comes to learning science online, you're faced with a whole new mountain of challenges. And believe me, it's a way steeper climb for science than for, say, history or literature. So what's this mountain made of? Well, first off, science is just complex. The ideas build on top of each other, kind of like a pyramid. If you miss that one foundational block, the whole thing can just fall apart. Then there's the teacher's side of it. So many instructors are treated like these lone rangers, They're expected to be a teacher, a video producer, a web designer all at once. And then, the big one, the final boss, really, the lab. How in the world are you supposed to get that crucial hands-on lab experience when your student is sitting at their kitchen table miles and miles away? So, yeah, the challenge was massive. But you gotta give it to the early pioneers of online learning. They did not back down. They got creative and came up with some really, really clever first attempts. And it's so cool to see how their thinking evolved over time. The first idea was pretty straightforward: home study kits. They'd literally mail you a kitchen chemistry set. Then things went digital. We got lab simulations, basically video games that let you see scientific concepts in action. And then came something that sounds like science fiction: remote labs. You, from your own couch, could log onto the internet and control a real robot arm in a real lab, maybe on the other side of the country. How cool is that? Look, these were all brilliant ideas. They really were. But they weren't perfect. Those home kits, not quite the same as a proper lab. The simulations, they were great, but you missed that physical, tactile feeling. And those awesome remote labs, super expensive, and you often had to wait forever to get a turn. So yeah, the gate was opening, but just a little crack. But what happened next? Well, it wasn't just another small step forward. It was a catalyst, something that was about to change the entire game of learning itself. And then, just like that, everything changed. A totally new kind of technology started showing up, one that had the potential to solve all these problems, not one by one, but all at the same time. Of course, I'm talking about artificial intelligence. And listen, not the scary Hollywood robots take over the world kind. No. We're talking about AI as a tool for education that can create learning experiences that are super personal, that adapt to you on the fly, and that are accessible in a way we've just never seen before. And this is important. This wasn't just about making the old tools a little bit better. This was about completely tearing up the blueprint and reimagining what science education could even be, and maybe more importantly, who it could be for. So remember that huge problem, the lab barrier? How does AI solve that? Okay, just imagine this, a virtual lab where you don't just see a beaker on a screen. With haptic feedback, you can actually feel its weight in your hands. Or imagine that same lab giving you real-time audio descriptions of everything that's happening. A complex experiment suddenly becomes completely accessible for a student who's visually impaired. That's not just an upgrade, that's a total game changer. And this is huge. It's not just about the student. AI is a massive help for the teacher, too. It completely gets rid of that Lone Ranger problem we talked about. All of a sudden, a teacher has an AI co-pilot.
Something that can help them dream up amazing assignments, create stunning visuals, and handle all the boring admin stuff. It frees them up to do the one thing that really matters: teach.
And maybe the most powerful thing of all, AI makes learning personal. It's like having your own tutor who is infinitely patient and available 24/7. It actually figures out how you learn best, and it changes the material to fit your style, your pace. The result? Nobody gets left behind. And look, this isn't some pie-in-the-sky idea for the future. This is happening right now. We're not talking about a little pilot program. There's a single mega university using these exact tools to teach over 700,000 students. 700,000. That's the mind-blowing scale we're talking about here. So where does that leave us? What does it all mean? It means that those walls, those barriers that have been there forever, they're finally starting to come down. The old rules just don't apply anymore. We're in a whole new world now. You know, the people who first started this whole distance learning thing, they could only dream of this. And now technology has finally caught up to that dream. We actually have the choice now. We can open that gate to science, and not just a little crack. We can throw it wide open for everyone. So when you boil it all down, what's the big takeaway? It's that AI is doing way more than just taking old classes and sticking them online. It is completely changing the game. It's giving power back to students and teachers. It's building a road to truly universal access. And honestly, it's changing how we even think about learning in the first place. And that leaves us with this one kind of amazing final thought. Now that those gates are wide open for everyone who's out there, who's the next Einstein? The next Marie Curie? They could be literally anyone, anywhere on the planet. And now, finally, they've got their shot.